Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is a couples review. We're really excited to be back. Harold is actually printing his notes right now um, in the same area where I am on the mic. So if you hear something a little weird, you know what it is. We're going to talk about Married at First Sight, Season 11, Decision Day. Actually, we're going to talk about the reunion, but we're going to mix in a little bit of the decision day in there as well. Guys, it was super interesting. How was your weekend, though? We actually went to Big Bear. It was a little bit of a birthday celebration as well, and we had a good time. We had a real good time. Big Bear is about 2 hours away from uh, LA. So we had a really good time. Harold will be here in just a second. Oh, love, can you close the window as well? Okay. Are you guys in there? Someone say hello. Let us know that you hear us. We're going to start here in a couple of minutes. I'm going to allow a couple of more people to come in. Who do we have in here tonight? Someone say hello. What did you guys think about the reunion? Let's see. Lord. Okay, guys. What do you guys think? What did you guys think of the reunion? I see we have 3 people in here so far. You guys don't be afraid. We won't bite. Hello, everybody. This is a couples review. I see more people are coming in. We're going to talk about Married at First Sight, the reunion. We are coming to a close. We have a few things to say. At the end of this live, we do want to answer a couple of questions, just random relationship questions that you guys may have. Darlene, hello. Thank you for joining us. We're gonna also at the end answer a couple of questions, and yeah, we're gonna have some fun. And you guys, whatever questions we have, please understand that you guys can give advice as well, because we do have some married people that listen as well. So everybody, everybody tune in and chime in, to the questions as well towards the end of this review for decision day, or not for decision day, for the reunion. You can.
Hello.
Oh, here is Harold.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I am ready. And so, yeah, this whole.
So this is his printer, and I don't understand what's happening
Maybe
here.
you can hear it, maybe you can't. But this, it's finally over. It's
Yep.
finally over. We finally got to the decision day, and now even the recap of everything. And
Mm-hmm.
so, some things happened differently than what I expected. However, after having watched all of it, I'm pretty happy at the outcome of everything.
Are you?
Well, I mean, we've watched so many seasons of everything, and there are a lot of lessons in this. And so that's why I say I'm happy, because even with some of the folks who I thought should not still be together, there are some hidden gems in there that I think are really good.
Oh, really? Okay. I can't wait to
Absolutely.
hear this. So we're gonna give you guys a couple of minutes. God, I hope you guys cannot hear this printer. Is it done?
It's done.
Oh, Lord. Hey, you guys. Hello. Oh, Kalina said she hasn't watched the reunion yet. Okay, there are going to be some spoilers. I hope you're okay with that, Kalina. Who else do we have in here? You guys, hello. We're going to do Married at First Sight, season 11, the reunion. We're going to mix in a few things about Decision Day. Feel free to talk about that as well. But we were in Big Bear this weekend and just had a busy week prior to that. This isn't our main, our main job. So we do this because we enjoy it. It's purely a hobby, but we want to make sure we do come on and make sure we talk to you guys.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We had a great time at Big Bear too, didn't we?
We did.
Up in the mountains.
We did. We did.
Absolutely.
We did. Can you guys hear us? If you can hear us, put down a fire sign, fire emoji, if you can hear us clearly. We're waiting for the fire emoji. You guys, if you can hear us, just give us the fire emoji or give us the heart emoji. Okay, can we be heard? I don't see any fire or heart emojis. All right, let's make sure we can be heard.
Yeah, I want to.
Okay, we're gonna wait a little bit until we get a heart emoji or a fire sign emoji so we can know for sure that you guys can clearly hear us. Oh, okay. Kalina gave us a fire sign. Okay, good. So you guys can hear us. That's awesome. Super, super awesome. Okay, awesome. All right, so here we go. Okay, so what couple do we want to start with?
Well, we could start with how it started, I guess.
How did it
I
start?
think it was with Amani and Woody. Those are the first two couple who we already knew from very early on that they were going to stay together, and rightfully so. Throughout this whole season, I think that they had the best relationship and they progressed in a very healthy and just a good way.
Yes, it was so beautiful. I mean, they were my favorite couple, my top two favorite couples, and I think they weren't perfect, but they worked with each other really, really well, which made them look like a perfect couple.
Yeah, they were very open and receptive to each other and
Yeah.
this process, and that's rare oftentimes. And there's even some couples in this whole season that we can see that, you know, some weren't very receptive to finding love this way. However, Woody and Amani, they came in on the same page and they stayed on the same page, even though they're different people. And so there you're going to have a little bit of, you know, tug and pull.
Right.
But overall, very, very, very happy for them too.
Isn't it crazy how Woody's friends did not think that this would work for him?
Yeah.
Goes to show how much they know him.
Well, they see Woody as
they only see him on the outside.
That party guy that, you know, likes to, you know, move about and, you know, and continue. But you can see it though a little bit, especially with his personality, spending some more time with Woody, seeing, you know, him with his grandmother and really seeing how emotional he got.
Yeah.
You know, when it comes to, you know, really, really what it is that he wanted.
Yeah, I thought, oh, go ahead,
no,
sir.
And the fact that he found that was just, you know, for me, just kind of the icing on the cake in the season.
Yeah, he even said that, you know, he wants what you know, his grandmother and his grandfather had or have. Is his grandfather still alive or did he pass away? It seemed as if kind of maybe he passed away or maybe not. I don't know.
I'm not sure. They didn't show him.
Yeah. But Woody has an old soul. Yeah. I think and Amani does too, which I think they were a perfect couple. The sweetest thing happened, and I just feel like this clip deserves to be played. They had during the previews, they made it seem as if Woody had this secret, and then turns out the secret is.
How do I say this? Actually, I'm just this.
What are you doing?
I never imagined, like, really never thought this. Never. I signed on. I never thought I'd get a life partner, you know? I've been holding this in for so long, man. They matched us. But honestly, I really do. I do love you, man, for real. And I just, you know, I just can't see you outside of, you know, outside of my life, man. So,
oh my God!
I got that thing been customized for you, so you know. I'm sweating, I'm shaking, I've been nervous. Would you accept this from me? I know the show gave you a ring,
I'm
but
gonna cry.
I think that you'll care more about it because it's actually from me, for my reasoning, for our life itself. So
Thank you. I do.
Oh my gosh.
That was
That
sweet.
was just so sweet. And
Yeah.
I didn't know that anybody had ever done that before, but you said there was somebody who did propose.
Yeah, it was either last season or the season before with Daniel and Bobby. Daniel proposed to Bobby on that.
Daniel and Bobby?
Oh yeah, they
I don't remember those names.
yeah,
Those sound like two guy
they even
names.
got a kid now.
Daniel and Bobby?
Mm-hmm.
Or Danielle?
Nope.
Daniel and Bobby.
Well, I mean, I guess that's the name that she went with Bobby, but
Okay.
I think it's Bobby. But either way, they he did the exact same thing, and they had a similar well, not similar, but they had a little bit of a tumultuous relationship. But
Mhm.
he proposed to her.
Well, I mean, they're doing great. They looked beautiful. I love what Amani had on. I mean, they're just in love. And Amani says that, it hasn't stopped. He's being the same person that he was on the show, off the show, which is what a lot of people were scared about.
Yeah, that was my fear initially, was can he keep it up?
Yeah.
And keep up, and what did I say? He needs to be consistent.
Mm-hmm.
And Amani said that he was consistent.
And I really truly believe that that's the real him. I can see it. Or this is the real him when he's in love, and maybe he's never been that way before. But yeah, this is another chapter, and I think he's genuinely doing and being, the real him. Basically.
It definitely seems like he's being himself.
Right.
And I am a believer. I am now a believer.
You are.
I am in that Woody. This is who he is, and I really hope that they continue to stay happy. Do I want to see a show with them and get some more of that love? Maybe. However, like you were saying before, I don't want that to turn into a spoiled relationship.
Yeah, because sometimes when relationships get on reality TV, they just kind of, they don't work anymore, or you have to add drama in them and stuff, and I don't want them to be tampered with or tainted. Unless they have full creative control, that would be the only way.
Yeah.
But they can be on couples cam.
That's true.
Yeah, and so that way we'll still be able to see, how they're doing.
Well, now we get a chance to see, because it's a little bit different from Deanna and Greg from seasons ago, where Deanna wanted the baby more than Greg. Now Woody wants the baby more than Amani, and so it'll be sort of interesting to see how that plays out.
How long do you give them for the baby?
Ooh, well,
I don't know. They say like 2 years. Maybe.
I think that we could possibly be seeing that kind of news within 9 months. And I'm gonna just put it out there. 9 months. Yep, absolutely.
Okay, so you heard it here first.
Oh yeah, and I'm good with my predictions. So 9 months, boom, we're gonna hear it, and then I'll tell you, I told you.
Should we make a bet on that?
We can make a bet.
What do you guys think the bet should be? So Harold is saying that Amani and Woody are going to have a baby within 9 months. I don't necessarily think it's going to be within 9 months. What y'all think?
I can see within. So what is it now? November. So absolutely. So whatever 9 months is from now, July or June or May or whatever it is. Yeah, we'll be hearing that news.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll come back to the comments to see if anybody has an idea of what that bet should be. Let's go to Amelia. Let's go to Amelia and Bennett. So Amelia and Bennett actually can't be at the show physically, but they're on webcam. They're in Virginia now. They seem like they're pretty happy. They seem like they're settling in. On decision day, Bennett surprised Amelia with a tattoo, and I thought it looked absolutely gross. And come to find out, the reason why is
he has a gross tattoo is because what do you call it? A stick and poke tattoo,
right? That's the prison
which is basically
tattoo.
A prison tat, where you just take a little needle and some ink and just
ew. Oh my god, that is not hygienic.
But I'm gonna tell you, it looked like a prison tattoo. So
it looked gross.
I'm gonna tell you that is why I like Bennett, because he's willing to get himself a prison tat. Because that right there gives you a little. little something.
Oh,
But
Kalina says Amani and Woody will be pregnant within a year.
okay, so she added 3 more months onto that.
So yeah, Amelia and Bennett.
Oh, what I was gonna say though
Uh-huh.
was that I really, though, even though it was a stick and poke tattoo, I really like the gesture
Mm-hmm.
with him getting that tattoo. It
Mm-hmm.
really shows that he's in it and that he wants this relationship to work, and he's going to do what he can for it to work.
You would make that gesture?
To get a tat, it wouldn't be a prison tat. It'll probably be a
Okay.
real tat.
You would do that?
Of course, I'm gonna get it right across my neck.
Yeah, right.
With
Then
some
you know
lips
that's
on
a
the
lie.
bottom of it. No, but would I mind getting a tattoo? I mean, at this point, I'm probably the last 36-year-old who doesn't have a tattoo in the world. However, I would get a tattoo for you. Absolutely.
You heard it. Another thing here first. Exclusive.
Well, yeah. I mean, when you expect to be with somebody for the rest of your life, you don't worry about whether that is going to be on your body for the rest of your life.
That's true. See, positive thinking.
Mhm.
Don't go into something like how these people are scared of getting a divorce. That's why they don't want to get married. That defeats the purpose.
No, I'm not afraid of getting a divorce.
You know,
'Cause I'm gonna
me
make sure that
either.
doesn't happen.
Me either. Me either.
Anyway, moving
So
on.
Amelia, Bennett said that Amelia works from 5 a.m. to 6:40 p.m. and then she works more once she gets home. So I know she's super busy.
Oh, I know. But I mean, with the coronavirus and her moving to a new place, you know, and really kind of getting everything started, I could see that. And I'm glad that
Yeah.
Bennett didn't just sit down and was just like, okay, you know, my woman's a doctor. I can just sit here and raise the kids we don't have.
Mhm.
You know, he decided to find himself something to do,
Mhm.
even if that's telemarketing.
He's a consultant for sales consultant for solar panels.
He said he sells, or he's a consultant for solar, which I think is basically, you know, telemarketing. We got a lot of those jobs in Los Angeles.
I
where you
hope-
just sit in a room and make
Yeah.
phone calls on how to sell solar.
Yeah. I hope that he is truly happy and that he's able to still be fulfilled with, you know, his creativity and stuff. And that this, you know.
Yeah, I think he will be. I think that's one of those kind of jobs where you can do and not really take 100% seriously
Mhm.
and still, you know, be able to find those moments to be creative. You know, you don't have to
Mhm.
go home at the end of the day and think about how, you know, what you're going to do tomorrow and how, you know, and all of these different performance factors. And so I think that he'll be able to continue to do that.
I agree. Can we unplug that or something?
It should be done now.
Okay. Yeah, so then they made like a song and they sung it live.
Yes. Which probably sounds a lot like this.
That was weird, but they're weird,
that
you
we
know,
do.
so it's cute for them. This is some quirky stuff that they do. I thought it was cute.
Yeah. It was, you know, it was Bennett, you know, and Amelia being the creative spirit that they are. And you know, it's
Mhm.
funny because initially I was afraid with Amelia and what she said on the day before decision day,
Oh,
which is this being, you know,
yeah.
one of those,
Mhm.
you know, just quirky things that she decided to do. And you know, I think from that quirky decision, she's been able to find something that is really going to be able to help sustain her and Bennett for a very long time. So
Do you think Amelia was
sweet.
do you think Amelia was gonna say yes before the tattoo?
Yeah, I think she, because I mean, I think that she hadn't seen anything bad. And so she would continue to see how well it went. Bennett is the kind of guy, I think at this point he's enamored and in love with Amelia.
Yeah.
So he's going to do what it takes to make it work. So maybe Amelia, through previous relationships, took this very lightly.
Mhm.
However, I think that as time progresses, she'll realize that this was the best non-decision that she's made. Because she wasn't really like, oh, I want to be married to be married. This was a non-decision.
That's
like,
true.
I'm
I
going to
get
try
what you
this. I'm going to
mean.
be on TV at least. And if it works out, great. If it doesn't, you know, like most of the things, you know, that have, you know, relationships, then so be it. But
Yeah.
I'm glad that it worked out for them.
Yeah, likewise. So they seem to be doing pretty good. That's it on them. I mean, I didn't expect anything different.
You know what I was going to say, which actually happened on the previous episode, which is their decision day, which was funny, was that Bennett wore the hat that Amelia really liked. You know, and I thought that was pretty sweet for him to have really put some thought into that.
Yeah,
And
wasn't
where that
that
had, even though, you know, he wore, I don't know what kind of pants, those
right?
look like women pants. But
But you know, he has his own style.
yeah, he
And
does.
I've caught Bennett wearing a few things that I thought were really fly. So I wasn't surprised.
Yeah. You want me to wear, you want me just like Bennett?
I would dress like Bennett before I want you. I
think-
like his style because of me and what I would wear.
Okay, so you're like,
Yeah.
you better not.
That's not what I said. That's
Be
not what
putting
I
on a blouse. Like, Bennett.
said. You have anything else on Amelia and Bennett?
I think that they're really silly. And I really think that they're dope. I'm really happy that this relationship worked out. We always knew it was going to work out. I think the only time that we had any question would have been the episode before Decision Day, but they turned out in good fashion. And even when the cameras are off them, they still continue to be silly and have fun. So I really look forward to seeing them in future episodes of Couples Cam or whatever else they put on.
Yeah, I wonder which of these couples are going to be on Couples Cam. Will it be all of the couples that stay together? I wonder. I wouldn't mind seeing that. I think that would be dope. I think we're going to be seeing more of Amelia and Bennett because I think the network knows that people want to see them. So I just feel like they're going to be in something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay, so let's go to Olivia and Brett.
Olivia and Brett. Well,
So
we knew what was going to happen with this couple very early on, called it from the very beginning, and it played out in similar fashion. I think, what was it? Olivia was at the studio. Brett was on camera.
Didn't he say he wasn't there due to work and he couldn't? I don't know. I can't remember what he said, but it sounded like a lie.
You know, the thing about Brett is Brett will say whatever he can in order to look good on camera. So even if he lost his job to COVID and had COVID, so now he's built up his immunity to it, he's still going to lie to try to save face.
Right.
You know, but, you know, Olivia, you can see her on the couch. Everything that she says basically says that I'm over it, you know, in many different ways.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
right. I see.
Not really.
Yeah, not
okay,
really.
We're going to go into it. So one thing that Olivia said was that, you know, when asked about, you know, her future relationships and what she's looking forward to, one thing she said is that she's really looking forward to being with someone who doesn't want to have kids. I'm like, did I hear that correctly?
Yeah,
I don't understand.
You heard that correctly. She wanted somebody that was going to be into her, somebody that doesn't want to have kids. And she really didn't make that very clear, I'm sure, on her application because Brett truly wanted to have children. Brett wanted to have a traditional sort of a relationship.
Right.
And Olivia, you know, for lack of a better term, almost wanted to have somebody that was more, not like a sugar daddy, but somebody,
she needs an older man,
but somebody that's older,
who doesn't want to have kids,
who doesn't want. Maybe that person was divorced, maybe already has a kid that's about the same age as Olivia,
right?
And they can all hang out and and go here and go there. She likes expensive trips,
right?
And I'm gonna tell you, really, for a man who is building things, who maybe at some point will get there in his life, Brett just wasn't there at that time, and so the mismatch probably has a lot to do with Olivia's lack of clarity when it comes to who it is she is and what she wants.
Yeah, that's true. I think it would be definitely unfair for them to have stayed together when she really truly feels deep inside that she doesn't want to have kids at all. Like it's not even a possibility. But the only reason why I say that she could get someone older or should is mainly because of the kids thing, because sometimes, you know, the older people are kind of done with kids. But other than that, I mean, I think she could have somebody close to her age or a little not, you know, how old is she? Like 30 something?
Probably in her early 30s, which I mean,
I think if she doesn't want kids, maybe she should get someone like 50 something or 60 something. But if she doesn't mind having kids, she could still find somebody 40 or something that will want to travel. I mean, you're not 60 and you like to travel and we go places, but you also want kids. So if I didn't want kids, then I would need someone older who, you know, is done with that.
Right. Because neither one of us have kids now. And so, yeah, I mean, of course, we can have all that kind of fun right now and then have our kids and build our life that way. Olivia seems that she doesn't want to have any kids,
Right.
and Brett wants to have kids almost now.
Right. Right.
And so, whether the experts matched them inappropriately or not, I think that they really just didn't have very much chemistry from onset outside of the fact that they had cats.
Right.
And I think I said that even early on, the
You
fact that
did.
they put them together because they had cats and both used toilet tissue.
Well, they agreed that their relationship was very surface level because Olivia said to this day she feels like she doesn't know Brett, which so basically probably what we saw is probably the depth of their relationship.
Yeah, Brett never was really very honest because he was very sarcastic.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think he did that because on camera, he doesn't want to look like the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
And so he'll say these sarcastic things or try to gaslight the individual to make them feel like they're crazy,
right,
or insincere, whatever it is.
Well, he said that there was a lot of editing being done because he was asked, did the cameras or did the show portray him correctly? And Brett said no one's portrayed on the show, or no one's portrayal on the show is accurate because it's highly edited. No, like for instance, Woody and Amani, I feel like that's probably them.
That's them.
Miles, I feel like that's probably him.
That's Miles.
No
that's
matter Karen, even though she also said that there was a lot of editing, I don't know. I just feel like what more, because we do get different glimpses of different parts of, even if it's just one moment of different things, we see a glimpse of every part of people and we can kind of gather a little bit.
I assume people think a little bit more of themselves than what they realize that they're putting off.
Right.
And so, yeah, she might feel like she does sweet things, but generally, if you're standoffish and not very loving or show intimacy, then you don't recognize the things that you don't do as much as the things that you do. And so the things that you do. You laugh at that. But anyway,
and Amelia and Bennett. I mean, I think that's pretty much who they are. So anyway, that's a bunch of BS. He's just mad at how he was portrayed. And okay, so they bring up whether or not Brett is dating. And Olivia says that she gets screenshots and stuff from her friends when Brett and her friends match on Tinder, and she gets screenshots of the messages and stuff. I'm like, just tell your friends to stop sending you stuff.
Yeah, I don't pay that much attention to my exes. Like at that point, I'm really wanting.
Well, they're fresh though.
Even then, I still want to cut my ties. I'm not looking to see my ex with the next person that they were with right after we got out of the relationship. I'm like, okay, cool. If that's it, let me just go ahead and unfriend you here, and and that way I don't have to immerse myself in that and feel any kind of way. I wouldn't want to do that.
Hi, Cabrina. Thank you for joining us. I see we have more people in the chat.
Welcome.
Yes, you guys, please feel free to comment and stuff. We're just having a kickback. We're just chilling and talking about Married at First Sight season 11, the reunion. And then after this, we're going to answer a few questions. If you guys have any advice that you want relationship wise or just anything, we're going to spend the end of this kind of just chatting with you guys. But one thing I wanted to say about Olivia is she said one thing that turned her off about him was that he would like check himself out in the mirror 5 times a day, which she mentioned before, amongst some other things that was a turn off. I mean, Brett, to me, Olivia isn't perfect, but Brett was definitely annoying.
Brett was probably annoying, but I mean, just because you check yourself out in the mirror, if you feel like you look good and you do what you can to look good, then I mean, that's motivating. I mean, in a way, I mean, I mean, women and people, I think in general, check themselves out in the mirror as much as they possibly can if they feel like they're attractive or do things to be attractive.
Well, I think it's different because I don't see you checking yourself out in the mirror 5 times a day, though you may. So I think what Brett is doing is like doing it in front of her, being like, "Ooh, I look good." That's kind of the example she gave, like making sure he does it in front of her, not I'm going to run in the bathroom real quick to make sure, I think he's doing it like he wants her to see him. I don't know.
Or
In an annoying way.
or she could just be looking for things that are wrong. She could be, when
It's
somebody
not hard.
looks at themselves in the mirror. I mean, unless he's literally flexing in the
That's
mirror,
what she said.
and like he just drank milk.
That's what she said, though. That's the example she gave. So I could see how that could be a turnoff. I agree with you, Cabrina. That's what we were saying. Cabrina says, I thought Olivia's response to Brett dating was stalkerish.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right.
I agree.
Like,
and it was. I mean,
what?
she should be just, doing her own thing, maybe finding some dates herself, maybe going on one of her lavish trips that she want to go on, as opposed to looking at what he's doing on Tinder.
I wonder why her friends are still sending her stuff.
Because I think that they really know that she's still kind of into Brett.
But that would make it worse. To continue, I don't know.
Yeah,
Whatever, they're done
things all the time.
and they weren't true. They weren't meant to be together. So it's a good thing that they are done. We knew it.
We knew it. And then even the host, oftentimes you could see that he was very chastising of Brett, and believing that Brett acted inappropriately. And if Brett really wanted to make this relationship work, then maybe it could have worked. But I think, like we said early on, they just weren't matched well. And for them to try, and maybe Brett knew this, would have probably have been a waste of both of their times.
Yeah. Yeah. Cabrina says, I think Brett's personality was somewhat misunderstood. His direct nature could be off-putting to most people.
Yeah, I could see that his off that could be off-putting. I do think though that it kind of helps get the elephant out of the room. You don't really want to beat around the bush a whole lot of times, but Brett wasn't empathetic in any way. Brett, really was very immature in a lot of the ways that he thought, and wasn't ready for, or and maybe neither one of them were, but he wasn't ready to be in a relationship with Olivia, and just like Olivia probably wasn't ready to be in a relationship with Brett.
Yeah, I think and his sarcasm is too much. It could be too much. Sarcasm is kind of offensive. It can be offensive and condescending.
Yeah, and the way that he used it really was in a way that displayed that he really didn't like Olivia.
Yeah.
And I've seen this before, when somebody deflects a lot of questions that are very serious and very deep. They don't want to get deep. And so they deflect and they try to make it a much lighter thing.
Right.
It's because they don't want to go that deep, because they don't want to have to tell the truth. And the truth is, for them, going to be probably very harsh. I mean, I don't really like you, or I'm doing this for whatever reason for the next.
Yeah.
And so I think his sarcasm was a way for him to just protect his general feelings.
Yeah, I could see that. Well, I mean, this is where it got them. Kalina says, I personally feel Olivia and Brett were not ready to make the necessary compromise that marriage requires. Brett more so than Olivia, for sure. I agree with you, Kalina. I think both of them, neither of them were ready. I do think that Olivia was willing to try a little bit more than Brett. I think even Brett's friend, said that even his friend feels offended by Brett sometimes. So I think Olivia matched up with someone else probably would have been a better turnout. Not saying that it would have been, perfect, but I think we would have gotten more from Olivia if she was matched with someone else. But I think we would have gotten the same person from Brett matched with someone else. Because even before he met Olivia, he was at the bachelor party trying to get with somebody else. He had the same personality.
Right. He did. No, I would agree that Brett overall is the villain in this relationship. I'm not saying that Olivia was perfect, and I'm not saying that Brett did everything wrong. Brett is entitled to how he feels about certain things. Brett is entitled to want to have children, to want to save and build, his wealth, etc., etc. I just think he went about it wrong as well. I don't think that he displayed much patience or empathy, and I don't think that he was really ready to be any further than the extent of his nose.
Yeah, I agree. Well, that was Olivia and Brett.
Yeah. Brett and Olivia.
Okay, who do we got next? You want to go to Henry and Christina.
This couple is the comedy couple now. I mean, and it's funny because we've gone through a roller coaster with Henry and Christina throughout this whole season, and my feelings about Henry have gone up and down. My feelings about Christina have gone down and down. And I think that we knew what was going to happen from basically their first night together.
Right.
How awkward that was.
Well, see, no, from their first night together, I didn't see it. I mean, because it could have definitely changed, just like, Jamie and Doug. They weren't, I mean, she cried because she didn't like the way he looked, and now they're happily ever after. Hi guys, we see more people in the room. So glad you guys are coming to join us and listen to us. Feel free. Yeah, feel free to chime in the chat. We're just having like a little online kickback talking about Married at First Sight, the reunion. So happy you guys could join us. So yeah, I think I was still open to seeing if they were gonna work.
I think I wanted it to work. I mean, I think with all of the couples, I wanted to work overall. But just the initial awkwardness of Henry, which I come to actually kind of like about Henry later on. I didn't see that, and then with the way Christina was, and then it was very ominous from early on when Henry's friends came over and really showed their apprehension toward Christina.
And now we know why. So Henry spills some tea, but I want to play this clip for you guys first.
She got out of a 5-year relationship only 8 months prior to us getting married. I questioned how mentally ready somebody is to actually marry a stranger and go on with it. She told me that the night of our wedding, so that was the first time I had heard of it. I had some of the people that I invited to the wedding come up to me that night and the days afterwards, texting and calling me, telling me stuff that they had learned.
Yeah, guys. So that was, I was making sure that the mic was on. I wasn't sure if you guys could even hear that audio, but yeah, so I thought I didn't hear that the first time, that she actually also went around the wedding day telling the friends about the relationship she had just gotten out of 8 months prior. She probably was drunk talking. That was probably one of the main reasons why Henry's friend didn't like her from the jump. Remember?
Oh yeah. Well, Christina sort of has diarrhea of the mouth and will just kind of just say things, and that's kind of proven itself throughout the season.
Yeah.
And that's really surprised me that she said those things at the wedding. I'm sure she got drunk. She says things to try to look cool. She tries to relate and ends up being, pushing herself away more so than anything. But that I think would have pushed many people back who are serious about being in this, is that when you get out of a relationship that you've been in, and you only 8 months ago, for 5 years, only 8 months ago, you need that time.
Yeah.
You need that time.
Yeah. And he insinuated that since the wedding day, he was done, basically, because of that, because she told him that as well on the wedding night.
He may have said that he was done. I think that at that point, he was probably like, okay, this is a reason to take a step back. I'm not all the way out.
And he was waiting for her to do something to bring him closer, and it never happened.
And then, he took that step back. And from that moment, he never took another step forward.
Because it kept probably proving himself right. Like, yeah.
Yep. Boom. Yep. There it is. Yep.
Here's more of it.
Here's more of it. I'm getting text messages. You acting crazy. This is happening. Okay. I'm going to play it out. Hopefully you can change, but never once.
Exactly.
Never once.
Christina, she admits how wrong she was about the text that she got about Henry. He brings up again the fact that she basically blackmailed him.
She tried to blackmail him.
Right, tried.
In saying that he did some, he had a gay affair with somebody. But even then, now that I think about it, you're gonna blackmail your husband that you had a gay affair. Like, that's not blackmail. It's over. right? You know, like you can't be like, I'm gonna tell people if you don't act right. Why would you even want to
Well,
be in this relationship if that's the case?
but that's the thing. I think that she was lying, and I think that she was so worried about him being honest about who she really is, and him looking and her looking like a bad person, that she would use that made up lie to say, if you don't stand by me and have my back, then I'm going to do this. I think it was all about her. I think it was about her making sure that she didn't look bad.
I mean, she picked a whammy because I mean, you not living in the central business district as a lie, and then you saying that Henry has had a gay affair with somebody. I mean, that's like going overboard. You could have said that, and Henry, you told me you were from Louisiana, but you're not. That's the
Right.
same kind of lie.
Right. But I think also she mentions, which I didn't hear this before, that Henry had said that he gets that a lot, but he's not gay.
I think Henry gets that people question whether he may be gay because he is not as aggressive toward women as other males might be. But I do not, after having watched everything, believe that Henry is gay in any way. I think Henry is absolutely straight. He may be a little bit awkward and he may have some autism or Asperger's. But other than that,
I don't
I think
he does.
Something's going on because of his lack of confidence and not being able to get there per what he says. But I say that, and I gotta say that with a grain of salt, because Henry oftentimes shows us that he is very confident because he can speak, he can give his opinion, he can say things directly to Christina without feeling any kind of way, and then he also got a part of the show. So he may be even a little bit more courageous than he thinks he is.
Yeah, I agree. Let's see. Oh, Christina lives in Mexico now with her friends. I'm like, yeah, she wasn't ready to get married. She's still in her wild phase. It seems like she's talking to somebody. They're not serious, but she says she's happy.
I mean, I think probably coming out of a relationship with Henry, somebody who didn't show that they like Christina at all. I mean, that can play on somebody's like energy and confidence. When the person that you've been matched with doesn't like you. So I'm sure she needed to get away. Be involved with people who found her attractive, who found her cool. I think though that she has a lot of work to do on herself before she finds herself in a very good relationship.
I agree. Cabrina says that she thought Henry may have Asperger's as well.
See, yeah. Well, I mean, it's something. I can't put a diagnosis on it. I'm not a doctor, but he does have some on the spectrum or around the spectrum issues. But I think Henry still though is a cool kid.
Yeah,
I still think he sits at the cool table.
I definitely think Henry would sit at the cool table. Yeah.
So,
and he's not dating, he's single, but he's open. So that was them.
Well, I wonder what his DMs are looking like now, because I'm pretty sure
people are trying to get with him.
Olivia's mom went into his DMs and was like, y'all should have been together.
Right.
And Olivia's like, stop it, mom. But she's like secretly like, that'll be okay.
Hopefully, right. Because Olivia and Henry, I think, would have been better.
Oh, yeah. Listen, Olivia and Henry and Brett and Christina.
Yeah.
And because I think Christina would have been open to kids. She would have been open for stability. As where
she would have loved Brett's house.
She would have loved it.
Yeah. And he would have loved that she is so excited to be in a house because she wants a place to live.
Oh, yeah.
So it would have worked perfectly for Brett.
I think so.
Yep. Okay. So let's go to our last couple. Miles and Karen.
Ooh, we had so much to say about these two this season. These two probably made 35 to 40% of the season.
Yeah.
And they're only one out of five couples. Wow. Yeah. I was very surprised at Miles's decision to want to stay. I swear I was hoping that they would ask Karen first, what do you want to do? Because I still believe that if they had asked Karen, do you want to stay in this relationship? she probably would have said no. But she said yes because Miles said yes.
I don't think so.
No?
I don't think so. I think she would have said yes. Because she would have said yes because that's probably what she should say. You know? But she was asked, looking back at everything, how she felt about how distant she was. I want to play this clip.
Watching this back, do you feel like, wow, I was a little closed off?
I don't. So I am more reserved. At the end of the day, I have to be true to myself and I have to make sure that I'm comfortable first and foremost. So honestly, it's one of those things that you can never really be prepared for. I thought it would be 10 times easier than when I originally signed up, but the truth is, like, you don't know fully everything that you're getting until you're in that seat yourself.
So I could see how it's probably a lot harder than you think, I guess. I feel like she had it easy compared to someone who really could say that it was a lot harder than what you think. Maybe it was a lot harder just inside of her. She thought she would be more open than what she was, but I'm surprised that she didn't regret anything.
Yeah, Miles was probably one of the easiest men to get along with.
I agree.
I mean, it wasn't like she was dealing with Jeff T.
Right.
from a couple of seasons ago.
Right.
It wasn't like she was dealing with Brett. It wasn't like she was dealing with a lot of stuff. And the funny thing is that Karen oftentimes contradicts herself because she'll say in one instance that, you're not being honest with me. You're not telling me the truth. You're not being real with me. But I feel like Miles from the very onset has been honest, told her the truth, been upfront with her, told her what he needed. Even if you go all the way back to the honeymoon when he told her that he had some depression issues, he was always very vulnerable and really trying to bring Karen into his space. Karen, however, has been very off-putting, pushing him away.
I agree.
And for her to feel like she doesn't have any regrets, like you were saying before, she should have at least acknowledged that she could have been more open.
I know.
At least be
it's
more
like she
open.
doesn't see anything wrong that she does at all.
There's plenty of people that are like that who don't see, anything that they do wrong. They just, this is how I felt. And because I felt that way, it was right. However, I think that if we are to grow as an individual, we have to see what we did wrong before and do everything we can to make strides to be more open or whatever it might be.
That's true.
Karen would learn to be a better person if she can open up earlier on, even if you want to protect your heart.
Yeah.
Just open up.
Yeah. I totally agree. I don't feel like much has changed, but I mean, that's his wife, so he knows her better than we do.
When you say much has changed,
much has changed between within like how she acts with him.
When they were sitting down or based on their interview?
Well, based on them on the reunion.
Well, they said that they were intimate.
Yep.
And so,
that is one thing. I do want to play this clip when the host, I forgot the host's name. I know his name. I can't think of it. Asked about when they consummated the marriage.
At what point did you finally say, we can consummate this marriage? We can be man and wife?
Even though he didn't think that I could handle like the truth about how he was really feeling, that's really what I wanted all along. Cause like, seriously, just the same way viewers are watching and they're like, man, this guy is putting in all this work. He's got to be frustrated. I was like, I know he has to be frustrated too. And I've seen him step up and tell me that it's not okay. That's when I was like, okay, this feels good.
What?
So once he showed his frustration, she thought, now it's time to open the legs.
See, like we were saying before, he just got to go across her head, I guess. I mean, it's stupid. No relationship should be this way, where, you feel like the only way you can trust somebody is when they chastise you and tell you that you're wrong.
Yeah.
When really you should go in the relationship thinking, I'm going to do everything I can in order to make sure that my partner is happy.
Yeah.
If both people are doing the same thing continuously, then And like I said,
Yeah.
we haven't been together for 50 years, but I'm
Yeah.
assuming that that would be a good thing.
I really want to understand what she means by when he started, opening up and sharing his frustrations, because I'm feeling like, are we looking at it wrong? Maybe there's a side that we're not looking at. I mean, if you guys have a clearer understanding of what she means, please feel free to write in the comments, because I just have a hard time believing that she really believes that he wasn't expressing himself before, because I felt like he was. And I have a hard time believing that she means she had to see him frustrated before she felt comfortable to have sex with him. Like I don't understand.
Maybe she likes angry sex. There's people like that who want to get into an argument because that makes them a little bit horny, and so they're like, okay, cool. Now we mad. Now we can get it on. And so,
Right. Cabrina says so. She figured Miles was frustrated, and she had to wait for him to say it. Then she was happy.
Miles was always frustrated. He said he was frustrated even back when before the pandemic, suggested that they have sex on a specific date. That was him being nice about saying that, hey, this, is an issue that we need to address in an intimate way. I don't know if he should have said at that very moment that, hey, Karen, it really makes me mad when you don't want to have sex with me. I don't know what he was supposed to say. Maybe he'd be like, can I beat you up if you don't?
Right. So Jessica, tell us what you think about, is it the way that he said it? Jessica says, I think she really was just wanting him to be fully real and transparent with her. Now, I felt that he had always been, but it must be the emotion behind the same words. It must be the fact that he probably maybe yelled and said, I don't gotta be here, and blah, 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 and yelling, that made, even though he might have said the same words, the way he said it was different. I don't know.
Maybe, but that's confusing.
But let me tell you, I'm all about, it doesn't get through to me when someone is yelling at me. I understand better when someone expresses themselves in a soft way. So I guess I'm the exact opposite.
Well, and that goes to show that there's so many different personalities. There's so many different ways about going through things. And so maybe Miles hadn't had to deal with someone like Karen because he wouldn't initially be involved with Karen, because Miles likes people who likes him. Karen maybe wants something completely different. I can't define it yet, but it's just, I don't necessarily feel like that's extremely healthy. Hopefully, though, from what we saw on the reunion, Karen is really giving Miles what he needs. But my intuition says that that's not happening. I think that Miles is still struggling. And I think that, Miles is going to say whatever he can to make Karen look good on camera.
Right.
But I don't think that Miles is actually getting what he really,
you don't think
needs.
So? Okay, save that. Keep that thought, because I want to hear why you think. She didn't seem to offer her own transparency to Miles, at least not on camera, unless her idea of transparency was expressing her constant displeasure with him. I totally agree, Cabrina. She was asking for something from him, but I don't know. I felt like he was being honest. Maybe at that time he didn't have the energy or wasn't as frustrated as she wanted him to be. I think the way he expressed himself was how he felt about it. And the longer it went, I guess if he sounded more mad than before, it was because that's how he felt at that time.
He was more mad.
It was more like, get mad, get mad, get mad. Like that's what she wanted him to do. I think that's toxic.
And I think, that's going to be an issue. That's going to be an issue later on in their relationship.
Yeah. Jessica says, what about the time when he told Woody he was pissed? She left and never told her. That was one thing that I was really upset with Miles about. I feel like he did tell her, but not in that way. Like, I feel like Miles did say, oh, well, no, he didn't tell her about the leaving thing. But why would you? But is that what Karen is talking about?
Well, okay, so this is a new relationship. Miles, okay, he might tiptoe a little bit in order to try to get his message across. And I say that he's doing that because Karen doesn't seem extremely receptive. And when it comes to being patient with people and trying to communicate what you want
Mm-hmm.
while still being patient, then you need to do it in a strategic way
Yeah.
as to not blow everything out of proportion.
Yeah.
And then you guys break up because now you're being so real
Mm-hmm.
and she's not ready to handle that realness. So you got to be like, okay, I'm not going to tiptoe. I'm going to still get my message across, but I want to do it in a way that she's going to be able to receive it. And yes, it might not sound like what I say to Woody, because what I say to Woody, I'm talking to Woody.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yeah, I'm pissed. I hate it, and it's stupid as hell. But when he says to, you know, to Karen,
It's just like when you said that, if you felt like that about something that I did, you better not say that like that to me.
and I wouldn't,
Okay,
because
you
it
know,
won't go
but
well.
you may talk to your friend or your best friend like that. But of course, you wouldn't say that same thing to me unless you want it to be done or you want more of a problem. So yeah, I don't think that is the one thing though. I don't think he even mentioned it about Karen leaving, but I think that's only one thing. I think that was the only time that he did not share what he felt. I think about the lack of affection and, you know, all of those other things. I think he did communicate that. But Jessica, you are right. That is one time when he didn't tell her.
Mhm.
But I mean, she decided, why would she leave? It's like, did you leave so he could get mad and tell you? I don't know. She plays this game, but they're together. So
Yeah, he's picking his battles. He's picking his battles.
yeah. Black Lavender says Christina lied all the time. Okay, that's Christina. Kalina says Karen appeared to have a need to be dominated in some way, and Miles just wanted cuddles. Oh yeah. Yeah.
And that could very well be. And I think, you know, one of the things that I really, and this is what I said was a hidden gem in this season with Miles and Karen, because I really thought that they should be not together. However, Miles really displayed a very strong sense of patience, a very strong sense of understanding, more so than what we're probably very accustomed to seeing in our culture now.
Yeah.
Because we kind of want everything now.
Mhm.
But that's very important, because not everybody is at the same place at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, where Miles might be wanting cuddles now and wanting, you know, that softness, and Karen wants that hardness, that could very well flip. That could very well flip in a matter of months or weeks or whatever the case might be.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy to see that, you know, when it comes to, you know, Black love or love in general, that even though Miles said, even though Karen isn't where I need Karen to be, I believe deep down that Karen can get there, and I'm going to work to make sure that that happens.
Yeah.
That's the opposite of what Brett did, and it is the reason why that relationship didn't work out.
Yeah. Yeah. Because he wasn't willing to compromise or be patient.
Absolutely.
Well, now you mentioned how you don't feel like Miles is actually getting his needs met, even though he says that he is. Why is that?
I say that Miles isn't getting his needs met because I don't think that Karen thinks the way that Miles thinks when it comes to what he needs, and maybe even what Miles might be used to. You know, there are so many different types of people in the world and so many different type of relationships that Miles could have been in, that when, you know, he's probably thinking to himself, when somebody likes me, then they respond in a certain way. When and Karen doesn't, you know, and Karen doesn't. And so it's going to take a quite a bit for Karen to catch up to Miles in that regard. However, I think that because Miles you know, definitely wants to be married to, you know, wants to be married. I think he likes a lot of the qualities that Karen has, and believes that through time that their relationship will be exactly what they want it to be. Kudos to Miles for believing that. So sorry that I think that he has to go through what he's got to go through in order to be there. But I think that if he remains patient, and stays on this course, then she will eventually appreciate that, and then will give Miles everything he needs.
So you think Miles is lying when he says that his needs are getting met, basically?
Well, I mean, you're not going to make your woman look bad.
Yeah.
You're not gonna be like, no, she still ain't. So that way, every woman on Instagram could be like,
Right.
oh, she ain't giving you what you need,
that's
Miles.
true.
I got ya.
That's true.
I know how. I've been watching all the videos.
Right.
I know about this and that.
That's true. Black Lavender says Miles and Karen can make it if they communicate. I totally agree.
it's going to just take. I think it's going to take time. I mean, communication. Miles communicates well. Karen tends not to communicate very well, so maybe that's going to take. But I think it's going to take time, and for Karen to recognize what Miles is doing, because Miles has always been honest. Miles has always been upfront.
I think he has.
But Karen hasn't recognized that. It was like, it wasn't until Miles was honest. Miles was always honest with you.
Right.
Now you recognize it.
But then she looked back at the clip. She saw the show.
Yeah, just being defensive.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you also got the rest of the world, or at least America, talking about how terrible you've been acting. So I'm sure she saw the post.
Right.
So she's got to defend. She's like, actually, the way I felt was how I felt, and she's gotta play to that. And I get that. But I do hope deep down she's like, I gotta step it up.
There's a YouTuber that I love to watch, Little Black Book, and he just really during the show really dissected Karen and Miles' relationship, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Because I mean, he saw a lot of the same things that we saw. And he just went into detail about it. So, I
was going to sing his trademark song, but I don't know who you're talking about.
Go ahead, you can do it.
I can't think of it right now. But
that's so funny.
I know who you're talking about.
Mineral Gang, that's his thing. Okay, so Jessica says he didn't communicate that in the beginning. Remember when he couldn't tell Pastor Cal his needs? That was one show. I mean, I'm glad that he said, basically, let me think about it, because he didn't want to just blurt out some random things. I mean, the very next episode, he got it together. So,
well, see, I don't think that Miles at that point had really considered himself. Miles is selfless in a lot of ways, which is why he still protects her sitting on the couch. I think that he got into this relationship like, I'm going to make it work no matter what I got to do. Meaning that he wasn't going to look at how he felt. He was going to look at, okay, I want this. I want to make it work unless she smacks me in the face or disrespects me or whatever his pauses were. He's going to do what he can. So when Pastor Kyle asked Miles, what do you need? Miles really hadn't sat back and thought about it, because I guess he assumed that if he had done the things that he was supposed to, he would get those things in return. Because I mean, and I can say this from even just in spirit. I mean, of course, when somebody likes you, these things happen. So he just was at a very selfless place at that point. And I think that's good for a man to be there, especially early on when you really love and you really like somebody, because, you got to mesh these two worlds together. And somebody in that relationship has to say, okay, there's going to be some bending. There's going to be some compromise. Even if the other person doesn't realize it yet and isn't willing to compromise on this specific thing yet, I'm willing to do that because I can stay, strong in this belief that I want this to work. And if they both remained unbending and unyielding, then this relationship wouldn't have worked. And that's, again, what we saw with Brett and Olivia.
Yep, exactly. Kalina says, I agree that Miles is not getting his needs met, and his reserve for patience will run out.
Maybe he's going to have a challenge with that, I think, because he now has America watching. And so he's going to want it to work almost as if he has children already.
Yeah, especially with, his best friend and Amani. So it's kind of like, we can make this work if we try, which they can.
I think over time, and I forget the young lady's name that you just mentioned, but Kalina, I think that she's probably right that through time, that unless Miles is willing to run around beating his chest, throwing beer cans at her, then he's they're gonna have some issues. Unless, I don't know, maybe she needs to. Who was we watching earlier? That the advice was for, Viviana said that she advised, I guess, women in general to read 30 minutes of a sex novel. That's what she's gonna have to do in order to be there for Miles.
But I don't think Karen is gonna feel like that applies to her, because Karen feels like she knows, right? So So I think Viviana would have had to tell that to Karen specifically.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Karen, I don't know if she really looks outside of herself. She kind of still seems almost like a kid in that she's the only person that's alive and that's a real person, and that everybody else is just a part of the Matrix. A lot of kids think, I thought that when I was a kid, that I'm the only real person and everybody else.
I know, me too. I used to think that I was the only real, and everybody else was characters in like a movie.
Yeah,
and they had a script.
Yeah.
And I'm the only one who actually has a mind to think, oh, you thought that too?
Karen still believes that.
Right.
That's Karen.
Jessica says, do you know they also cut out a kiss goodbye before Decision Day? They showed it in the reunion montage, but not the actual episode. That's crazy because I do remember them showing it on Decision Day in the montage, but I also remember during that actual show, before Decision Day, I remember feeling like, dang, you couldn't even give him a kiss. Remember I said that?
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. There was a lot of things that we didn't see in the montages of each relationship. And maybe Karen didn't always get the fairest end of it because maybe they could have showed the few things that she did. However, I don't think when the editors edit, they edit to show the one time you did something sweet. Yeah. They show what's going on average. So this way, especially if Miles is saying this is what's happening, they're not going to show something completely contradictory to that.
Because it's like, okay, maybe they did edit, but what Miles was saying was what we were seeing.
Exactly. It was like Miles was saying all these bad things, but they only got one bad clip and 7 good clips.
Right.
No, it'd be 7 bad clips and 1 good clip.
Right.
Because that was what was happening.
Right.
So yeah, there may be some editing and you maybe have done some sweet things, but overall, you're an ass.
Right. See, I didn't say it. I didn't say that. Hey, Estelle. Estelle says Karen's interview revealed that her love language is service. So she often brings gifts and does special things for him. Well, okay. So see, I thought when something is your love language, it's what you want people to do for you. So basically, I feel like right. So that's probably, he did change her tires and that didn't move her.
No.
Or fix her car or something.
You said, what was her name? Estelle?
Estelle.
I think she hit him on a nail, but the way I would perceive that is that her love language is service to her. She wants service done for her. And then I think that maybe she might stick around because those services or those things are being done. Just like when they got home, and it wasn't like, oh, Miles, whatever, thank you for, for driving or whatever it might have been. It was, oh, rub my feet. It wasn't like she was performing services or doing many things for Miles, but wanted Miles to do things for her. At least that's how I looked at it.
But that was what he was doing, and she didn't like it. She felt like basically he was too catering. So I don't know. Estelle. I don't know. Karen is a little confusing for me. Black Lavender says that he's glad the show was 2 hours this season. Some episodes I was happy it was 2 hours. Some episodes I could have definitely taken less.
I could have taken less commercials, I guess. And I don't know if everybody got the same commercials.
We watch the show on Hulu. So Jessica says, I think a lot went on behind the scenes that we were not privy to. Miles said she did not like the cameras. Okay. You could be right, Jessica, but
there was not a lot of things. Say it again now. There was not a lot of things we were privy to.
I think a lot went on behind the scenes that we were not privy to. Miles said she did not like the cameras.
Miles said that she didn't like the cameras. Maybe she didn't like the cameras. However, they only film for 8 hours a day. And I'm sure that if Karen was doing things that Miles liked, then Miles would have said that and said that, when the cameras aren't here, she's, extravagant.
Exactly. Because Miles even said when the cameras were off, she had laundry on one chair and she decided to eat on the arm of that chair versus to sit beside him on the couch. Exactly. And there were no cameras.
Right.
So I don't know, Jessica.
But and that may seem like a small thing if that's one thing, but I think that,
it goes along with what we see on camera.
All these little things add up, and then there's a point to where it's like you look at them and like, you don't really like me because you don't want to sit next to me. You know, I keep
Right.
smelling myself, wondering if I stink. No, because I keep using Axe spray. I'm good. You know, I just I can see why Miles gets frustrated with Karen.
I agree. But Karen's mom actually loves Miles. She says like she texts him. So Karen's mom is like, yeah, they talk a lot, but I'm wondering how Miles' mom feels about Karen. We didn't hear about that. Because
You know,
Miles's mom was more like, listen, if you don't know how to treat him, then send him back home.
well, probably because Miles tells his mother what's going on in the relationship, and she's probably not super okay with it. However, when Karen tells her mother what Miles is like, she's like, Miles, I know my daughter's a little crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Shh,
Exactly.
but just be patient with her. She'll turn around, and she'll be
Right.
everything you need.
Right.
Just don't leave. We need you in this family, or at least she needs you. Because I think Karen's mom probably realizes that, but Miles's mom is like, son, you were way too good for this. You can have somebody that's loving you all kinds of ways.
Right.
And so I can see that. I can see why.
Estelle says they didn't show that she gave Miles a record player in 33s for their 1 month anniversary.
That Karen gave Miles?
Mm-hmm.
Nope, we didn't see that at all.
They didn't. We didn't see that. I mean,
what can you say about that?
I mean, that's cool. I think that was really nice. And it would have, for that episode, for that moment, it would have helped Karen a little bit for that moment. But I think, I don't know. I just think what they didn't show to me still isn't big enough for me to have a total change on who I think she was to him.
Yeah, because why make her out to be the villain if she's not?
Well, they will do that now.
Well, yeah, maybe, but then again, who you are on camera is who you are also.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not just on camera, because there was many times where they were just kind of being normal or just doing whatever, or the stories that Miles would present. None of that stuff was very highlighting of Karen in a good way.
And his facial expressions, it's a lot more. Jessica says, I'm just saying the show likes to show one dimension parts of people. I totally get that. I totally get it. But it's just I think we're coming from, and you could, tell me if I'm wrong. I think where we're coming from is Miles's opinion on how he feels about the relationship matched what we saw.
Yeah, I agree with that. And everybody has multiple layers. Everybody has, differences in their personality. However, there are certain things that tend to show more than others. And I think, what tends to show for Karen more than Miles, or, even some of the other people on the show, was that she was very standoffish. She was a little bit cold and not really ready for this type of a relationship.
Right.
I think that overall, hopefully it's going to end up being a good thing for her, and maybe she'll grow out of what was displayed. But I can't say that even with the stuff that they showed, that Karen was all that great in this, in this season. And I think she even knows it too.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
I think so. Because she's got to defend herself.
Yeah, I guess. Or she could say, I could have been a little bit more open. I didn't see it that way at that time because I was only focused on myself because I don't want to get hurt again. But looking back at it, I wish I would have saw who he truly was earlier. And I didn't. But now I do. And now I'm happy and he's happy. That to me is a response to where you're still saving your dignity. Because it's like,
that's true.
If I would have known what I know now about him in the beginning, maybe I wouldn't have been so closed off, but I didn't know. And now I do. And that's why we're here. That would have even still, she didn't give any of that, but we're
but how can you sign up for this show with such a closed heart?
Yeah. Jessica says she was definitely guarded at times and slow to open, but that is only one side that they overplayed. Okay.
Yeah, they played it a lot. I just wonder if they played the other side if they would have had enough footage.
Yeah.
They might have just been like one thing. Once she gave Miles a kiss on the cheek, mwah, and then that would have been the end of the show because she didn't do anything else. So I mean, yeah, they can do their best to try to show those things. However, I think when you edit, you do need to stick to a narrative, in order to have some congruency in the episodes. Let's give, for instance, Amani. Amani may have had some closed off moments. However, they showed Amani being open because Amani was generally open. And they couldn't have showed it any other way because Amani didn't have enough footage of her being standoffish.
She didn't have enough footage of her having a bad attitude, like what she did when they were like about the phone. And I'm sure maybe there was some other instance where she kind of caught an attitude, but it wasn't probably enough to show.
But we can't build a personality with the little bit that we have here. What we can build on is that Amani is sweet. Amani and Woody have a great relationship. Even though we might not be able to show 45 minutes of them on screen on these episodes, we're only going to show you 15, but it's generally good stuff. And if that would have been the same way with Miles and Karen, then I think that, if they had nothing but good stuff to show about Karen, then that's exactly what they would have showed.
Right.
I mean, Miles had plenty of moments where he was upset with Karen. However, they didn't only show that Miles was upset with Karen. They also show Miles loving and caring and wanting to be next to it and and yearning for that kind of affection. And so they edit what's there and they pick, I think, the most common energy that the I'm gonna call them contestants have.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for the comments, guys. They're basically together. They're still together. They say they're happy. So that is what it is. So all the couples get back together on the stage, and Amani and Woody and Karen and Miles actually live super close to each other.
Yeah, what, 30 some odd 40 steps, I guess. And it was funny because when I thought about this, I was wondering to myself, I know that Miles and Woody, they're friends, but I wonder how much Karen and Amani get along.
I know, I wonder.
I mean, and I say that because, and I've known this for a long time, and something my daddy told me a long time ago. When it comes to relationship friends, that oftentimes it may be easier for the women to be friends first or be friends, and then the men are a little bit easier to be friends.
I think so.
Because
you kind of have a choice, because women like to choose their friends, because you don't just men. I feel like men probably can just get along better with more people, with more other men.
We are more alike to each other, I think, than women are alike to each other.
And like women friends, if you're friends before the relationship, you've chosen your friend,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, in some cases, it can still work when the guys are, in the relation, or when the guys are friends first.
In a relationship.
But I wonder because Karen and Amani are very different.
Yeah.
They're very different.
But I think Karen could turn into a different person when she's around her girlfriends. I kind of feel that way. She's a little more softer with her girls, I think, even from when, she met up with her friends when they came to the house before decision day. I think she seemed a little softer.
I think so. Well, she was a little bit more open to listening. I think that conversation helped sway Karen in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Because her friends expressed how much they thought Miles was a good guy and that, Miles was good for Karen. And that helps. That helps in a relationship. I mean, if you're with somebody and they tell you that your man sucks and your man isn't good and that, I don't think this is going to work. And, I think he was an asshole because of this reason or that reason, then that's going to make you think those same things too. And then you're going to be going back mad at him. You're an asshole because of such and such and such and such.
Right. I agree.
And so
Jessica says Amani was more open definitely throughout the process. Just doesn't mean that in time Karen wasn't able to either. The relationship went at very different paces. Definitely. They definitely did. Lucy Smith says, I don't think Karen loves Miles. She needs counseling. Well, we'll see.
maybe
We'll see how it goes.
you know, I agree, and I forget her name already because you just said it.
Lucy.
Lucy.
Uh-huh.
I think that Karen doesn't love Miles today. I think that Karen could though. It's just going to take time because I think it's going to be. I think Karen really still is harboring a lot of feelings about her ex, and is still just in happy to be involved in this TV marriage situation.
Yeah.
I will be happy to come back around February to see where things are and to see if they're still together. Because that'll say a lot. That'll say a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see. I'm looking forward to seeing, more news and more Instagram posts from the couples to kind of, give us the inside of what's going on. So that was them, guys. What did you guys think of the decision day and the reunion? Are you guys happy with their choices? I think it was. I knew that the choices would be what they were.
I knew about Woody and Amani. I knew about Bennett and Amelia, Brett and Olivia, Christina and Henry. I think the only one that I was very surprised about was Karen and Miles. I thought that Miles would say, I think that I could have an easier time with somebody else and be as happy or happier.
Yeah.
And speaking of Miles and Karen early on in the very first or second episode said how Miles wasn't her type based on his Instagram. I don't know if anybody listening went on Miles's Instagram, but there's nothing on Miles's Instagram that would say that this isn't a cool dude.
Yeah,
it really isn't. It really isn't.
Unless he deleted some posts.
Unless he deleted a whole bunch of stuff that I didn't see, and that's possible because they had 9 months or so with having to have it on private. But what I saw was like, okay, he seems above average in a lot of ways, when it comes to, many of the guys that are out here. And so, I mean, unless you want some roughneck thug that you're going to be having
holding
to call
up guns in the camera
and put money on his commissary books, then I don't know what it was you were looking for. Because there was, really nothing wrong with it.
I think Karen is still getting to know herself like we all are, but, she may be right in the beginning of it versus, some people are just they're open to the process of getting to know themselves while they're with someone else. And they could still be selfless at the same time, or at least have parts of them that are selfless. Okay, guys, so that was Married at First Sight. Season 11 is now over. I think this was a great season.
Yes.
Next season will be in Atlanta.
Is it?
Yep, in Atlanta.
Atlanta.
I know. It starts in January, I think. So,
this is during COVID times? So are they going to kiss?
I wonder. Do you guys know? It starts in January, right? Atlanta.
Well, I know we also had a few requests if we were going to review any other shows.
Yeah.
Put a Ring on it. And
yep, that's still on. We still have time to do that because it's only like the second or third.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I got my predictions and a lot to say about those too. So I mean, that
on
could
Put a Ring on it, you do?
Well, that could be something that we talk about in private.
Yeah.
But I think that we may be able to find something else that we can review.
And I may do Ready to Love, and I may do a girls segment on here for Ready to Love or something. And then that'll be dope if even like you do a guys thing. I don't know. We'll see. We want to have more ideas of different segments and stuff to add on the channel. But we did want to do a last minute relationship Q&A at the end. So we're going to spend about 5 minutes or more, depending on how it goes, answering your questions about anything, whether it's like relationship advice or even about the couples. If you have more to say, I do have a few questions here that were left in the comments for us to answer. One of the questions were, what general advice would you give to long distance couples? We were actually long distance for 3 months. I went overseas for work. And so we were long distance for 3 months. And I think one thing that we did was kept in contact. We didn't go like a day without speaking. I think sending pictures and telling, your significant other about your day, especially if you can, as your day goes, that keeps them feeling like they're there.
I think, yeah, I agree. And we had that. I think we had a little bit of a foundation. We didn't start off as long distance. I do know about long distance relationships, and I would say that for a long distance relationship to work, there needs to be a steady plan on how you guys are going to come together and build a life together. I think too many times people can be in a situation that is just for the meantime, especially if there's things to be worried about. Do you guys get a chance to, FaceTime each other? Do you guys get a chance to talk to each other on the phone? Have you guys had an opportunity to meet each other? And so many things. I think that is healthy if you guys are on the same page and are working toward how you're going to mesh your two worlds together. If you're just talking and all you do is chat on AOL Instant Messenger and his or her phone is always broken, so you can never do a video chat. And, then I think you really need to consider what it is that you're doing and maybe try to find somebody that's a little bit closer. I think that long distance relationships can be very, 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 very special, especially if both people are willing to work together in order to make it work, have a steady plan on how you're going to come together, understand that you guys are going to be in a different scenario, because I think that when two people are together, they're able to mesh their world honestly. I think when two people are in long distance, then they mesh their words theoretically, meaning that, they'll say, oh, I would love to do this. And oh, I would love when you got home to give you a back massage or rub your feet. However, is that a daily day basis thing? That all sounds great in theory. But you really are going to have to figure out, okay, you've already been, you've been talking to this person now, or you've been dating for a year. Okay. So who's moving then? Right. Who's going to, who, how are we going to make this work?
I think that's very important in terms of like anticipating when it will no longer be long distance is something that can make long distance work and keep you guys going strong. I think when you have something to look forward to when it comes to, seeing each other, I think that's a major thing in keeping it going.
I think, absolutely. And as well, they're very healthy relationships often when they're long distance, because there's no sex. And not to say that sex is bad, sex is great, but sex could be so great that that's not what the relationship is built on, and it's not built on friendship. And so
you're able to really just talk.
If you guys can just talk, and you can talk for hours, and you just love being around that person, then of course, being together, you got to know, okay, are you going to be still sexually attracted to, or even attracted to a person physically? Are you going to be sexually attracted? Is sexually is going to work? There's a lot of things that you have to mesh.
And there has to be trust.
There
has to be trust, because different things can make you think that the person is doing something, or different things can be a temptation to the other person who's not strong enough. I prefer not to have a long distance relationship, because I want to be able to, maybe go out to eat at 2 a.m, even though I don't do that now. But what if one day I wanted to, I don't know, be able to see the person whenever you want to. But, some people can't do that, unfortunately. So I think that it can work. I think long distance can work. Most importantly, I feel like if there is a plan to one day be together.
Yeah. And then also, that plan not changing every time it's time for it to be executed. You can't, and next January I'm going to move down there, and then next January it comes, and then it's not going to be until July, and then it's not going to be until November, then it's not going to be until 2 years from now. And there's things that happen, but I mean, you really aren't going to be able to be very, very happy. And just, I don't know. I just don't think that it's going to work unless the two individuals are actively making steps in order to make it a for real thing. Because to be frank with you, and to be frank with everybody, that if it's a long distance relationship, then words are words.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
actions are the only real thing. I can say that I love you every single day, but if I smack you in the mouth, then obviously that ain't true. And I can say I love you on the phone, but I just can't smack you yet. Right. And so, not to say that, you know, anybody's abusive. I'm just saying that actions are the true barometer of, you know, the reliability of a relationship.
And you can be your best self over the phone.
Absolutely.
You know?
Oh yeah. I mean, I rub your feet every single time you come.
Right.
And when you get off of work, girl, I got you.
Right.
I got some massage oil right now, and it's lavender, and it smells so good. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? That's
But
what
you
they say.
do
Often.
that,
I
though.
well, I do, but on
Not
the phone it's
everybody's
easier
like
to
you.
say it, right? Not everybody's like you.
Okay, so we have another question. Advice on couples saving themselves for marriage.
Okay. And so that is a double-edged sword, I would say. I grew up Christian my whole life. I grew up in the religion. My father was a pastor. My brother's a pastor right now. And so I absolutely understand. And I'm gonna tell you this too. You know, sex is one of those things that can confuse a lot of things in a relationship. I do believe heavily in intimacy, and intimacy is going to be needed at some point in order to keep that relationship going. But it can confuse things. I do believe that when two people have sex, that their souls in a lot of ways intertwine.
Yeah,
there's never
definitely.
been a situation where, you know, that I've been in that hasn't felt that way. And so I say protect yourself, protect your body. What
do
do
you
I
feel like? Do you feel like when that has happened with people who were toxic, you started feeling toxic? Is that why?
It just, you know, you don't make the same decisions you would have made if you hadn't had sex with that individual. I think your decisions are different. It blinds things and it confuses things in some cases.
But what do you mean with the soul thing?
I think that
soul being intertwined.
There's an attachment there that you have. You know, when you have that kind of an intimacy with somebody, then there's an attachment that's created, a bond that's created that is not there unless you have sex.
Okay.
And I think that looks different for a lot of people. So I can't say, oh, well, that means that, you know, whatever. I just think that, and anybody that's listening have ever had, you know, sex with more than one person, then you know that there is a emotional tie that you have with that person that would not have been there if you hadn't had sex. That's why oftentimes once sex happens, things can sometimes get weird, especially if you don't really like the person, or especially if you're not really in love with that person.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and there's been plenty of people that I've heard of who's been in situations where, you know, they've, you know, maybe been intimate with somebody that they work with. And then now work sucks.
Things are different.
Yeah. You know, that very next day, things are different. So to answer the question,
advice on couples saving themselves for marriage.
Advice on couples saving themselves for marriage.
I'm thinking while you're answering.
I think that if that's the role that you want to take, then be open to marriage early. Be open to it early.
Be open to having to work at being satisfied sexually, and be okay and be patient with, you know, the process of getting to a point that if you didn't wait for marriage, you would already be by the time you got married. Because if you save yourself for marriage, you're really starting from the beginning in terms of getting to know someone's body, but you guys are already permanently together. So you have to find a way to love the intimacy between you and the other person, because you have no other choice. Not that you should anyway. I mean, when you have sex with someone, you shouldn't plan on not being with them. From my opinion, that's kind of how I have always been. But when you save yourself for marriage, you have no choice but to make it work.
Yeah, and find somebody that's equally yoked. And I'm pretty sure whoever asking this question knows what that means. Equally yoked, meaning that you both think and believe the same way. you're not going to find somebody to be in a celibate relationship with until you get married. If you find them at the club, you may want to, limit your searches to areas and to people who are likely to be thinking the same as you. Because if you do meet him at the boom boom room and then you say, oh, well, I'm saving myself for marriage, then, and let's say he says, okay, or he or she or say, okay, then you're going to be dealing with the fact that the other person still has these needs and don't believe the same way that you do.
Yep.
So
And then you're
find
going to get
somebody,
hurt. Yeah.
find somebody that's equally yoked, so you don't have to find out that that person had a kid behind your back.
Exactly. So the last question we're going to answer tonight is, do you have any advice for couples who are about to be married? So we're not married yet. So I guess even a married couple, I think would be really, really good at answering this question. But
Well, I had to think about, advice on a couple who is about to be married. Be happy. Be happy in that that you're taking this step. That's a very loaded question, though.
I would say one thing that I feel like I know for sure is not to marry off of potential, in terms of, like, if there's a lot of things that you can't see yourself dealing with forever, um, and you've been dealing with it a long time, don't think that once you get married, things are going to change.
That's true, because those things, they tend to exacerbate themselves.
Yeah.
I think when you are married.
And marriage can be a fun thing. I know that I'm excited about making marriage fun, and
I'm gonna say
I
this.
think I will open up more once I get married, because that's just another level of promise.
I'm gonna say this. I am the oldest of 3 kids, and both of my parents are still married. They've been married now for almost 40 years. First marriage, only marriage, and they got married after 4 months of having known each other. So you might want to open up your ears on this one. And what I'm going to say is that marriage is not going to always be easy. I think that 2 people grow at different paces. And I think that there are going to be times that you disagree. I think that both people need to make it a point to be very understanding and be very loving and be very patient with each other. And to understand that, no, it's not always going to be perfect. It's not, but it is going to be worth it. My parents have gone through so much. And I mean, there were times where it was great, and there were times where it was not so great, and there were times where they talked about divorce, and there were times where they almost did and that they didn't. And I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that, one, they really loved each other. They loved the family that they created, and they really wanted to keep the commitment and the promise that they made to each other and to God, in that they would make it work no matter what. And I think that you really have to have, I'm going to make it work no matter what. I mean, of course, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that I uplift and I respect my family, and I respect the man or the woman that I fell in love with and that I decided to say yes to being married to. But overall, it's understanding that it's not going to be easy, understanding that it will 100% be worth it, and really just understand that it is a journey. Sometimes it's dark and sometimes it's bright. But I think that it is worth it. My parents are extremely happy, and I cannot wait to have what they have.
Yeah, for sure. Likewise. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you for asking questions. We want to answer more questions. We want to do actually a whole separate video that's just about, Q&As, relationship advice and things like that. We're going to just implement more things that, revolve around couples and relationships, because I think it's really, really important to hear from, couples and happy couples in healthy relationships. So, you can hear from other people about the same situations that you're going through, and you can know what's not normal and what is normal. For the
Absolutely.
most part. Nobody's perfect, but there is a such thing as a toxic relationship and a healthy one. Make sure you guys like the video. Make sure you like the video. You liking the video will help the algorithm. More people will see our videos. Loving relationships is really needed in terms of like just more of those type of YouTube channels out there. Because we need love. We all need love. Also, make sure you comment any other questions or advice that you would want us to answer or do a separate Q&A video about. You can feel free to write it down below in the comments. We love hearing from you guys. Any more comments that you have about the couples that we talked about today, feel free to also write those in the comments. If you have any tea or extra insight, inside stuff about the couples, feel free to also put that in the comments as well. I just want to make sure that we don't have any more comments or questions that we missed out on. Okay. I think we're good. Again, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, just because you can't see our faces doesn't mean we ain't keeping it real. Thank you guys for listening. Bye-bye.
Bye.